Good day, welcome to another episode of ParlourTalk. We watched our last episode where we talked about Invictus Obi and his arrest by the FBI. Barely a week after that incident happened, guess what happened again? The FBI Los Angeles office announced that they're charging 80 people in one of the most organized and sophisticated online scam ring they've ever seen. And guess who majority of those suspects on the indictment are? The Nigerians. And 14 have actually been arrested, and it is believed that 66 of them are large and most of them are in Nigeria. It just it just seems to be falling like dominoes these days. This issue. I know that a lot of us have talked about the need for something to be done, and I something has to be done. We Nigerians know, even the ones in both the ones living in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, know that this is a social menace that the public have come to just accept or normalize, which is quite weird, given the fact that there hasn't been real attack at the root cause of the problem. So it's more of a situation where you you know that you don't have something better to offer people, and you just kind of skirt around it. Yeah, I'm not saying EFCC is not doing uh, enough or whether they're doing enough. That's not really the main issue. The issue is it took. The issue is the problem is big to just be treated transactionally. Like, okay, you commit your arrest. At some point, you have to consider the fact that this has become a major problem and a priority for the country to fix. When the president kept talking about Nigerians' youth being lazy, the next question is, what are you doing to change that attitude? You don't just say something is a problem and just leave it. And not arresting people is not enough. I keep saying that. There has to be not even sensitization, there has to be engagement of the Nigerian youth. Whether we like it or not, they are the leaders of tomorrow, and they're the ones to take over from this generation that just keeps dragging and dragging and leaving everyone behind. So it's a shame we're waiting for the outside world to actually correct our maybe moral bankruptcy, if you like, for the want of the right word, or uh, moral decadence. And it's quite astonishing. It didn't come as a surprise, but it come as a disappointment that it's something everyone throughout the world knows. There's a con phrase that people say when they're talking about online scam. They talk about the Nigerian prince, and typically where you go as a Nigerian in the Western world, they just people make jokes about it. Sometimes they affect real people that are trying to do real businesses. Sometimes it's just a joke. It's just a joke that you endure uncomfortably. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. I think the emboldened way with which um, online fraudsters or Yahoo boys go about their way of parading the ill-gotten wealth, it has to stop, and there has to be a change in the focus of Nigerian youth in what they believe in or what they're trying to achieve. And how do we do that? When youths know that crime don't pay, or the crime has consequences that will significantly affect them and affect their family, they will change to more legitimate ways. And how the legitimate ways I'm talking about is, I'm not seeing enough pressure from even the so-called youths that have been affected on the government or on the powers that be to demand what's their own, to change things, to to provide for schemes that actually help them. Yeah, I get about social investment program by the government, like the Empower Traders Money. Oh, let's be frank with ourselves. A graduate, an average Nigerian that's been to university from primary education to tertiary education, even if that person had gone to public school, will probably spend the better part of maybe 5 million naira. I stand to be corrected. Will spend about 5 million naira, and you that person is expected to be seeded money for investment of around 30,000 naira a month, and someone calls that employment. Who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? So this youth needs to be properly engaged, and the way they will get engaged is about the government who needs to be challenged, not in any violent way. Before someone starts talking about revolution now or no revolution, not in a violent way, but there has to be engagement of the right quarters um, on how to engage and improve the welfare and standard of living of the average Nigerian youth. And I saw the reaction from the chairman of Nigerian Diaspora Commission, or director. I stand to be corrected. Honorable Abike Dabiri. Yeah, that came quite quick enough. Well, that's the issue. We all don't want the bad name, but are we really addressing that? I'm not seeing any discussion going on or any engagement going on how this menace can be tackled. The FBI broke down how this um, scam is being committed into 4 stages, and it's quite it's surprising that the system is is even termed as sophisticated by the FBI themselves, the system with which these are done. So, which means these skills can be harnessed and be put to better use. So, that's my take on that one. The second thing I would like to talk about that has happened in recent week is the attack on the former Deputy Senate President of Nigeria, Senator Ike Ekweremadu. This is quite a sad one. Why is it sad? And I know a lot of people will disagree with me. It is sad because sometimes I feel that we have misplaced priorities and we back the wrong tree. How? When we're saying the government is not performing, why? Because I heard a lot of people uh, commenting on this saying that, well, that is a statement that should go out to the political functionaries that Nigerians are tired of being used as doormats or not reaping the dividends of democracy or people they've elected into office. That's quite all right. But violently attacking a member of the Nigerian Senate, how does that change anything? Is my I remind people that it's just one of 109 members. So attacking him, what does that do? Does it mean it will go to the Senate and tell people to shut up because he doesn't want to be beaten again? Or does that make him the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or even the Senate president? Not that any attack, any violent attack on these people is makes sense But I don't get why attacking Ike Ekweremadu now makes it changes anything. He is one of the few um, Senate presidents that have been consistent in the last, shall I say, in the last three republics, or in the last three senates, I should say. And for one, this is a biased. This is a biased opinion, obviously. I like the guy and I quite respect him, but I don't know. And I get a lot of people are saying because he supported Operation Python Dance, which is obviously the military slash DSS coordinated operation that led to the arrests and incarceration of the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. He was the deputy senate president. Get over it. He's not gonna. He can't do anything to change it. The president was gonna do what he's gonna do. The president is chief security officer and the grand commander in chief of the armed forces. So what could he have done differently? They said he played a role. Yeah, he could have played a role, but also his first responsibility as a senator is to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I'm sorry, but if he's that beacon of hope or the leader of the Biafra nation, then he wouldn't be a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He would be a senator of the Republic of Biafra. So until that happens, if that happens, I think it's wrong to use the attack on Ekweremadu as an example or as an excuse to as an example would be the right word for other political functionaries that they will they will be dealt with if things aren't changed. Because when the right people are meant to be engaged, Nigerians hide their heads. So because few guys lost their heads in Germany and beat up Ike Ekweremadu, does not we can't latch on that and use that um, as supposed anything. I think this is just a one-off incident and it's going to be a flash in the pan at the end of the day. We can't use that as an example or call that a warning shot to political functionaries. When it matters, Nigerians cave. This is just an action of few people, disgruntled people. Um, Still on that subject, I watched the interview with, or I listened to the interview with the spokesperson for the German law enforcement, and they said that they're not investigating the power because the fracas, as they call it, was stopped before it could turn, before it could degenerate into full blown violence. I find that very annoying. I think it's disrespectful to Nigeria as a nation because you will not belittle an incident like that if it was, say, a Western political functionary that's in Nigeria, retired or not. It will not go without being looked into. But I believe that the ambassador to Germany is really pressing the German government on the matter, and I think they should. Any Nigeria, any Nigerian that does that on foreign soil to a fellow Nigerian is is not done anything to represent the interest of Nigeria. If you know you want to do that, go to Nigeria and do it and live with the consequences because we need to stop isolating. Um, we need to stop this idea of having uh, issues modeled or dealt with without having a clear head or without any logic behind it. We need to handle our issues logically. There must be method to our madness too. I get that a lot of Nigerians are angry for different reasons. Part of the reason, the things we talk about this show are the things that actually annoy us or and we hope excite us as Nigerians. So it's a shame that that happens to Ike Ekweremadu. And I think the organizers of the event that have invited him to Germany need to take responsibility for that too. I'm not saying they're involved. I'm not sure, or I've not seen it, whether they knew that it was going to be attacked when he gets to Germany. But you really need to make sure that when you're inviting a functionary like that, you can't just let them be harassed or insulted. It's a shame. It's a shame. And eh, especially in a time when we need more engagement about political leaders, because that's how to actually have a representative democracy. We so we spend so much time in this democratic dispensation where there's no connection between the elected and the electorate. They come every 4 years. They come when it's time for the election. And after they've been elected, you don't see them again. So, but it's not about having town hall in your constituency all the time. We need to engage them in every facet, every time we can engage them. So they need to feel the pulse of the people. So if you invite someone like Ike Madu to an Igbo event, New Yam Festival as they call it, and he attended, I think that's a step in the right direction because regardless of what his motive might be, I don't think he's coming to Germany, he's coming to make him money. So I think that should be encouraged more. And we don't encourage that when people are under the are afraid of when the political functionaries are going to be afraid of being lynched when they attend these events. So let like I said, let's hope this is a one-off and such incidents will not repeat itself again. We need to engage the right people at the right time to on how to move Nigeria forward.